Ladies and gentlemen, sadly, I think it's time that we all admit, well, maybe most of you have already admitted this. I guess it's time that I admit that once and for all, I guess Conor McGregor's not coming back. And I haven't wanted to believe this. I've always hoped that I was wrong. I've heard him many times talk about how he's just a fighter through and through. He'll be fighting. He wants to have 300 fights. He wants to fight in even an older league when he's in his 40s and in his 50s. He wants to keep fighting and competing because he loves it so much. I love hearing that. I love hearing a fighter being so passionate about the thing that they love, and it being about the money, it being about the fame, but also being beyond that, just about that pure art form and that pure competition, the pure obsession with the game. It's how I feel about the things that I do in my life and in my business. And I love seeing that entrepreneurial spirit, but focused and geared towards fighting. I really like that. And I always felt that Conor displayed that, at least with his words and also to a large extent with his actions. You hear interviews of D. Devlin back in the day saying that Conor would wake up in the middle of the night and just start shadowboxing, working on his technique. And this crazy obsession with fighting is what brought him to the great heights that he achieved as double champ. But alas, we have fast forwarded many, many years. Conor has made a fortune, has done tremendous things, has become one of the most famous people outside of mixed martial arts, just one of the most famous people, period, on the planet. And we are still waiting for him to return to the octagon. Now, I'm not saying this to pile on or to beat up on Conor. He had a horrific leg injury. The fact that he's even able to train again is a miracle. And the fact that he could indeed still return potentially to boxing or bare knuckle or some of these other styles of fighting, that in and of itself is a miracle. So he had tremendous recovery, and that is something to celebrate. But I must admit that it appears as though his return to the UFC will not happen. And I'm going to say this for a couple of reasons. Okay, so number one, we are in March, right? I'm making this video on March 20th of 2025. What Dana had originally said was that Conor would be returning at some point in September or October. I think that's what he said at the beginning of the year. Conor's not coming back till September for whatever reason. Is he fighting Chandler? Is he fighting Ilya? I know people said I'm an idiot for saying that, but I heard some other folks say that. That was a potential rumor. I don't know. Is he going to, in fact, return, or is he simply going to wait out his sunset clause and then part ways with the UFC? Man, I really thought he was going to come back. He loves the UFC. Him and Dana White seem to have a good relationship. People are saying a falling out is imminent. I don't know if it is or not. And then on top of it, they have the TV rights deal this year. Oh, see, even as I'm making this video, I just want to believe that he's going to come back and at least fight one or two more times just to put the UFC in a better position. But I don't know. So I really hope he comes back. Because I just want to know. I want to know. I want to answer the question. Does he still got it? Does he still have it? Justin says no. A lot of people say no. But I wonder. I don't know. I think he still has power, and I think he still has speed. He still has agility. I think he's got enough money and support around him that he could get a really good training camp together and still come back and make a great showing. We've seen him sporadically training. And again, I don't know what his ins and outs are. He could be training every day, but I doubt it. And let me show you a couple things a couple of videos as to why I'm finally coming to this point where I think we just got to say goodbye to Conor McGregor in the UFC and the sport of mixed martial arts, which I have to say is a tragedy. First clip that I saw earlier in the week, crazy. And again, if this fight really is happening in September or October, I would imagine if he's really taking it seriously to be in some sort of a training camp and probably not drinking. I mean, look, maybe some people do continue to drink in their camps. I know Volkanovski was recently talking about how now in this camp for the first time, he's cutting out alcohol like 12 weeks out or 10 weeks out, and before he would still enjoy a drink here or there. But just watch this clip. You tell me if this feels anywhere like he's somewhat in a correct mental state to be preparing for an upcoming fight 6 or 7 months from now. Might recognize the Nelk Boys, right? There's Kyle and the whole crew. My doppelganger, people say me and Kyle look alike. I don't know, you tell me. Wow. Look, I bet Conor's so much fun to party with. He slammed that entire beer. That's like a stout. That's like a Guinness. I'm sure it's his brand or whatever. He slams that thing. Okay, I'm sure he's a blast to party with. I'm sure he's a really cool guy. But dude, I just can't. I mean, and I'm sure there were many, many more that he tossed back that night. Okay. Whew. So that does not look very good. That does not look great for Conor McGregor. And then in the flip side, okay, there's him partying, which we've seen him party many, 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 many times, right? On the flip side, we now have this on St. Paddy's Day, showing up at the White House. Crazy. And he's invited there on St. Patrick's Day, I believe it's an Irish holiday. I think it originated in Ireland anyways, but obviously we love it in the U.S. It's kind of a drinking holiday. But he's there at the White House, officially invited. And I got to say, all the things that I was saying in other videos, being worried about Conor, thinking he's really on a bad path, on a dark path, on a path that is just going towards maybe deeper and deeper into drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and different things like that. I got to say, he looks good here. And so this gives me some hope. That being said, when you hear how impassioned he is when he talks about Ireland and the issues they are facing, I feel like this is something great for him to focus on, to get him away from a lot of the negative things that have been taken away from his life and from who he is as a person. I think this is a positive thing, but if this is what he's going to focus on and glob onto, I feel worried, not worried actually, because this could be maybe a positive thing for Ireland, even if he doesn't run for office, but if he gets involved in some way and tries to make a positive change, this direction that he's going to go in is just not going to work with him coming back and making a return to the UFC. I could see him continuing to promote for BKFC and maybe compete in there one day. But I think just with the timeline and with the sunset clause and the fact that I think he kind of wants out of his UFC contract, is at least what it appears to be. He talks so much about wanting to get into BKFC and fight and be a bare knuckle champ. I don't know. I think that is done. But on the positive side, let's listen to how he sounds, because you may have heard this clip already, but he sounds good. He sounds clear. He sounds focused. He does not sound like he's on the sauce or anything else. Check this out.
I'm here to raise the issues the people of Ireland face. You know, and it'll be music to the people of Ireland's ears, because never on the main stage has the issues the people of Ireland face been spoke. You know, our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people of Ireland, and it's high time that America is made aware of what is going on in Ireland. What is going on in Ireland is a travesty. Our government is the government of zero action with zero accountability. You know, our money is being spent on overseas issues that has nothing to do with the Irish people. The illegal immigration racket is running ravage on the country. There are rural towns in Ireland that have been overrun in one swoop, that have become a minority in one swoop. So issues need to be addressed. And the 40 million Irish Americans, as I said, need to hear this, because if not, there will be no place to come home and visit. You know, Ireland is at the cusp of, you know, potentially losing its Irishness. And I'm here to raise the issue and highlight it. You know, it's also St. Patrick's Day, so a little bit of celebrations for sure, and you know, a little bit of learning and listening to Mr. President Trump, whose work ethic is inspiring, and all that does to me is highlight the lack of work on my side. So that's it. That's what I'm here for.
Awesome.
Now, there's another clip that surfaced a couple of days ago. Actually, this was actually also released on St. Patrick's Day, but I missed it. But in case you missed it, check this out. This is him getting questioned by a reporter, and the reporter asks a question or brings up a reference from, I looked up the guy, I believe his name is Pascal Donohoe, the Minister of Finance of Ireland. And I think he made a comment saying, hey, Conor, he doesn't represent the people of Ireland, and listen to Conor's response. But I got to say, as angry as he gets, this is again a positive sign that he is of sound mind. He responds very eloquently and very passionately. So again, this could be a positive sign. Again, not a good sign for him to return to the UFC, but at least a positive sign that maybe he's getting his things together and trying to be more on the straight and narrow and be focused.
I told him his work rate is outstanding. and I wish him all the best.
Conor, the Taoiseach says you don't speak for the people of Ireland. Your response to that?
I am an employer of over 200 people, almost 300 people in the country of Ireland. He's an employer of none. Every available metric available to us has shown that the government of Ireland currently has failed the people of Ireland. In 10 years, Dublin city centre has gone from one of the most safest cities in Europe to one of the most dangerous. So shame on him for saying that, speaking down on an Irishman. I won't speak about him personally. Throw a jab, I could throw many jabs at them. I could throw jabs handily at them. However, I speak on the metrics, and the metrics show they've failed the people of Ireland. They do not represent the people of Ireland.
Conor,
and I'm
what
here.
do you say to people who feel it's inappropriate for you to be here, given...
God bless Ireland, God bless America.
If you think about it, all the trash talk that Conor has done over the years in fighting and in mixed martial arts sadly prepares you to be a politician. He's like, I can throw many jabs. I can talk smack back to him, right? I mean, this is why I can't stand politics, because at least in the fight game, we know it's for entertainment purposes. And a lot of it is for the purposes of entertainment. Whereas when it's in politics and people are throwing jabs at each other, it's just sad, because it's meant to be the people that are most responsible for our well-being. Apparently, theoretically, we should be electing the most morally sound people, and yet they're sitting there bickering like little kids. It always drives me crazy. It's bananas. But if you're forcing Conor into a position like that, basically he's been training his entire life to go in and have verbal sparring matches with a lot of these folks. So, just kind of interesting that maybe he's perfectly primed to go into politics. Okay, anyways, now I'm going to turn it over to Justin. He's going to give his take just in terms of why he believes also Conor is likely not coming back, just from the perspective of who can he beat at this point. Now, again, this is speculation. I want to believe that he could come back and still do well, that maybe he's been training, maybe he's been keeping in shape, and maybe he still has been improving his skills steadily in the dark, behind closed doors, where we don't see anything going on, and he's ready to go and could come back and beat Michael Chandler. I want to believe that. But this is Justin's take, so let me turn it over to him right now.
There's all this crazy speculation about how he's going to be returning to the UFC, and then other people think he's going into bare knuckle because he's partnering, with BKFC. And guys, personally, I think it's all fairy tales, man. I will give my opinion, and most people aren't going to like what I have to say, but you can't disagree with me, man. Conor McGregor's done. Conor McGregor is done with MMA. I don't ever see him going into bare knuckle boxing. He keeps talking about this return. He was supposed to return against Michael Chandler for like 17 years, it felt like, and then he hurts his toe. Which I don't think Michael Chandler was a great matchup for him, man. Michael Chandler has a heavy pace, a really strong wrestling. But with that being said, I thought Eddie Alvarez was going to beat Conor as well. So, but when we look at, the top guys in the division, I'm going to look at the lightweight division right now. You got your champion, Islam Makhachev, obviously will handle Conor any way he wants. Then you got Arman Sarukian, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, who's beat Conor twice, Max Holloway, Dan Hooker, Mike Chandler, Gamrot, Dariush, Moicano, Fiziev, Paddy Pimblett, St. Denis. Like, none of these names, not only do I think I don't think Conor can beat any of these guys. He has a puncher's chance. Of course, he has that beautiful left hand, but that's about it, man. These guys are hungry. These guys are going to be ready to go. And then there's speculation of Conor McGregor going up to welterweight. All right, well, let's look at the welterweight rankings. We have Bilal Muhammad, the champion, no chance. Leon Edwards, Shavkat, Kamaru Usman, Jack Della Maddalena, Sean Brady, Joaquin Buckley, Ian Gary, Gilbert Burns. Like, these guys are just going to be too much for Conor. Huzaifa's talked about Conor struggling financially, and he might be in some financial struggles, and maybe he's just trying to grab onto straws and, see what he can click to try to make money. But I just don't see anywhere in the lightweight or the welterweight division that he can find a route to success. And I don't think the UFC wants to defeat him to a hungry up-and-coming guy to build off his name, because it's going to tarnish Conor's name. And Conor is a very proud fighter, very, very proud athlete, and I don't think he wants to go out like that. So, honestly, guys, personally, I think Conor McGregor is done. The reason I'm making this video, it's because Someone else thinks he's done it too. Charles Oliveira, man. We're talking about a former UFC champion. A dreadful matchup for Conor McGregor at the lightweight division would wrap him up, tap him out in the first round. Even if Conor dropped him, Charles would probably be able to submit him off his back. One of the most active grapplers. He came out today and said that the fans need to stop thinking about Conor McGregor, stop worrying about Conor McGregor. And he was very polite the way he said. He was very stoic and he wasn't being cocky. He's like, look, guys, we just need to forget about Conor McGregor. All right, he's done with this sport, and I have to agree with him, man. And I don't really think there's anything else for Conor McGregor to prove. Not to mention he's been off so long. The sport changes every month. The sport is changing. It's evolving. It's getting tougher. It's getting harder. These up and coming kids are so much better than they were 10 years ago coming in. So unfortunately for Conor McGregor, I think this is the end. Guys, tell me in the comments what you think.